Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Lewis Cooper, that's my name, says it down below there. I'm going to do another comic review this week because it's been requested a couple of times, and my last one I did just as a solo review, the Mr. Miracle hardcover edition, seems to be very popular. It's got more views than most of my videos do, so you know, if that's what people want, then that's what I'm going to try and do. So today I want to talk about Essential Judge Dredd Volume 1 America. So this is one that I bought back in October. I've only just got around to reading because, you know, I'm off work again because obvious reasons. If you're watching this in the future, then hopefully you'll be able to figure out what that is. But I've only just got around to reading it. It's the first volume of the new Essential Judge Dredd, where they reprint Judge Dredd stories that are quite historically significant. I think the second volume is out now, which is the Apocalypse War one, which is actually set chronologically before this one. I can't talk this evening for some reason. I don't know if they're going in alphabetical order, because you've got America and the next one is Apocalypse War, so maybe they are. I don't really know, but you know, it doesn't matter too much because they're kind of standalone stories in the grand scheme of things. But my history of Judge Dredd, just briefly, I've been reading Judge Dredd for about 25 years, and I know you're thinking, wow, you're only about 21, how can that even be possible? But it is. I started very early. I think it was around 1995 when the movie came out, the Stallone movie. They released a UK series called Judge Dredd Lawman of the Future, which was kind of a kid's version in a way. Like, it was still pretty dark and pretty gritty, which for me as a young kid at the time, felt pretty cool, because it kind of felt like something you shouldn't have been reading, but there wasn't really anything too bad about it. It was just kind of gritty kind of thing, and quite serious and adult, but not overly not really violent at all, if I remember rightly. I do remember sort of looking at 2000 AD and Judge Dredd Megazine at the time, because you know, this was like mid-90s, and like it was very dark and very scary to me as a kid. So like, I didn't read 2000 AD until I was well into my teens, probably about maybe 14, 15. So I've been collecting 2000 AD on and off for the past 20 years really. So I've read a lot of Judge Dredd, and most of the Judge Dredd I read was during the John Wagner, Carlos Esquerra kind of, you know, you get one of their stories most weeks, and it was just, you know, spot on. So I know Dredd pretty well, but I have never read this story, America, before, because originally it was in 1987, and it was printed in Judge Dredd Megazine. I'm not going to go into the story too much. I'm going to give more of an overview of everything altogether. But yeah, this is a really, really nice book. I really like the cover. I really like how they've printed it. And I know that the whole series is going to be uniform like this, which is pretty cool, because I think when you collect them all, they're not actually numbered on the spine, which is nice as well, because you know, you can probably get different ones here and there if you like. But I probably will end up collecting them all, because they're really nice. Like I say, they're really nice printing, like inside and that kind of thing. They have these big kind of red pages that have the story titles on. So to begin with, you've got a couple of shorter stories that kind of set the scene, and I think the beginning stories, which are about the march against the Justice Department and trying to create a referendum on voting against the judges and that kind of thing, which again, this was 1987 or even earlier than that, these early stories. And 2000 AD and Judge Dredd in particular has this thing where they seem to always be relevant. Like, I'll get into this a bit more, but not so much these days. But I mean, this was 1987, they're talking about a big referendum, and it's kind of, you know, in recent years in this country, it kind of is quite a lot of foreshadowing there. But getting into it, it's there's a story called Revolution by John Wagner, Alan Grant, with art by John Higgins, as it tells me in the book. I didn't memorise that. And it really kind of reminds you of what Dredd used to be. And like I said, I still read 2000 AD now. I'm not one of the haters who say it's not as good as it used to be. And I mean, you know, in some ways it's not, but I still enjoy it, so I'm not going to complain about it. But I think recent Dredd stories have kind of missing that element of Dredd not being the good guy in many ways, even though he's law enforcement. And this story in particular really highlights that, because you know, it is about the Total War group and about being against the judges, and basically the Total War people are terrorists, but they think they're in the right kind of thing. And it's interesting because in the first story, the judges are against this march. They're against democracy in any way. So you know, they're really the overbearing power kind of thing, and it shows like Judge Dredd and the others like really subtly kind of taking apart this march and just picking out the ringleaders and just bringing out whatever trumped up charges they can against them. Like if they've got like I think one of them was like their marriage license didn't expire or something, so they were technically married, so they remarried, so they can get them on like bigamy or polygamy or whatever it is. And so like just to take him out the march, and they arrest one of the older guys and they make him stand up all night, so when it comes to the march he collapses, sort of thing. So it's just these little things to kind of create that disruption inside, and it really kind of, you kind of go, actually, yeah, Judge Dredd was this really dark kind of world and character. Like, it still is in many ways, but it was very much a satire and a commentary on kind of the government and the law enforcement and that kind of thing. It does reprint some of the covers. I know it's a bit of a different track, but I just noticed that it's really cool. Like, it says 28p at the top there, which 2000 AD is definitely not 28p anymore, but this was 87, I think. So yeah, so the main story, America, isn't one that really stood out to me too much. And like I say, this isn't one that I've read before, and I know I've heard about it a lot. I know it's significant, but you know, you read these things, you know, 25 years or so after they were printed. It is, actually no, sorry, 35 years on maths, isn't that great? Sometimes you don't get quite the same impact you originally have, and I'll maybe read it and maybe like it a bit more, but again, not complaining. I'm just saying it didn't quite grab me as much. But you can see you've got the first part of the book there, then it gets into the America story, so John Wagner and Colin McNeil. But I really like the art. It does have that kind of really old school 2000 AD art, as you can see there. Really big pages and really strong colours, and it's just a really interesting story about the girl America, who's one of the Total War people, and it's told from the perspective of her childhood friend Bennett Beanie, who's also in love with her. And it just kind of, it unfolds all from his perspective, sort of thing. And I really like pages like this as well, just like quite simplistic, but just the colours and stuff really stand out. Also, one thing I will say is the binding on this book is very good as well. Like, it's got the kind of the string binding in the middle, which really works. So this will last quite a long time, I should think. It's not just glued or anything like that, which can, if you know your comics, that can be a problem. But yeah, but it wraps up with another story about the actual sort of voting referendum itself, and kind of the internal thing from the Justice Department. Again, it shows Dredd being not a particularly good guy. You know, he's a man of the law, but you know, whether that's good or bad is kind of open to interpretation. But yeah, like I say, if you like Judge Dredd and you want to go back and read some of the classic stories that have kind of shaped the world of Judge Dredd over the years, this is a really good place to start. Like I say, this is the first one of the Essential Judge Dredd volume, and it's kind of, it's like I say, what it does best, I think, is it shows you kind of what the old Dredd was like in many ways. Like, I'm saying that that's not there anymore, it's obviously still part of it, but this really kind of shows the beginnings and just the kind of how it kind of went. And it's very 80s in the sense that it is that kind of anti kind of government, you know, kind of anti-Thatcher, if you will, kind of thing of the time. But like I say, really lovely artwork, really nice book, and really nice binding as well, all together. So yeah, I would recommend it. Say if you're a fan of these. My copy is a little bit damaged around the edges, but you order it online, that's the risk you take, unfortunately. I got it for a pretty decent price from a well-known website that has the name of a rainforest. I'm not going to plug anything, not that they need my help, but yeah, they're a little bit on the expensive side. The recommended price is $19.99, which I didn't pay all that much, but yeah, I'd recommend picking it up. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. Let me know your thoughts. If you want me to do more comic reviews, then please let me know, and I will do what I can. But please leave a like, and please subscribe. Thank you very much. Take care. See you soon.